Hello, everyone. By a show of hands, if you please, how many of you have felt tired or overwhelmed in the past few days? It's definitely been a difficult time. Fortunately, there's something that may be able to help with that. My name is Emily Welch, and I'd like to welcome you all to a talk about meditation. Now, I'm not a meditator myself, so I'm not trying to convince you that you need to meditate. Instead, I'd just like to share some information regarding the benefits that meditation can have on the brain, because I find them really interesting. I feel like we can get caught up in this idea that meditation is this kind of new agey practice, but it has actual scientific benefit that I've been able to study and research. Now, you may have heard before that meditation improves attention or reduces stress, and that's true. But what you may not have heard before is that those effects are at least partially attributed to actual changes in the structure and functioning of different areas of the brain. The act of meditation can significantly alter the brain, and those improvements are what I'd like to discuss today. We can think about the brain in two distinct areas of function. The first is executive function. That's things like memory, attention, and decision making. The latter is emotional function. So that's our stress response, emotional regulation, and conflict resolution. And it's in both of these areas that there is a measurable improvement in the brain as a result of meditation. All human brains have a degree of neuroplasticity, which professors Check and Martin define simply as the ability of the brain to change its structure and functioning in response to stimuli, thereby growing stronger and more efficient. Researcher Michael Rignetta explains that the neurons that make up the brain actually have the ability to change their connections and behavior to accommodate things like learning, brain development, and even damage like a stroke. This leads to brain growth and enhanced activity, which results in improvements in brain functioning, like that improvement in attention or stress reduction that I mentioned. In regards to executive function, a Yale study found that meditation leads to the activation and expansion of the prefrontal cortex through neuroplasticity. This is one of your big areas of executive function. It's involved in working memory, decision making, and other cognitive tasks. So by activating and expanding this region through meditation, you're actually helping to improve on these cognitive abilities and have higher levels of executive control. So better attention, cognition, etc. I've thrown a lot of information at you already. So let's just pause for a moment. I'd like everyone to take a deep breath, give yourself a chance to relax and resettle. And let's continue. When it comes to emotional regulation, meditation has been found to increase activity in the anterior cingulate cortex, also known as the ACC. This is a brain region that is involved in emotions and emotional processing. So by increasing ACC activity through neuroplasticity, meditation is helping to improve someone's abilities in emotional control and conflict resolution, leading to lower amounts of stress and lower emotional reactivity. For both the executive and emotional functions, this meditation-related phenomenon has been measured using brain scans. Published in leading research journals such as Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences and Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience, this data shows increased activity in both executive regions and that ACC emotional region when comparing brain scans of meditators to those of non-meditators. So these changes aren't just being reported through patient testimony, they're actually able to be quantified and observed on these scans. And that's really cool. Like I said at the beginning, I wanted to share this information with you because I find it very interesting. But also, we've been dealing with an unprecedented situation due to COVID-19. And as several of you indicated, that has caused a lot of stress and disruption to our lives. Meditation might be able to help with that if you'd like to give it a try. Or maybe you have another activity that you do to reduce stress, and that's great. My hope is just to get you thinking about ways to take care of yourselves during this difficult time. Thank you for listening, and at this time, I'd like to welcome any questions that you may have.
So one quick question. You had said at the beginning that you're not a meditator yourself, but you seem to find it very beneficial. Why is that?
That's a good question. I will admit that I probably have not stuck through kind of a trial period for long enough. I'm someone who has a difficult time kind of shutting off my brain from bouncing around to lots of different thoughts. And so in the past, when I've attempted to meditate, I felt that I'm not really doing it right. It's not really working for me, those kind of things. But I do think that if I were to give it another try and really try to stick it out for a while, that it could be something that is really beneficial. Any other questions? Well, thank you all for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. And I hope you all have a great rest of your evening.